In Dynasty, we often just forget about players or ignore guys that don't pop in year one and year two and just say, you know what, it's not going to happen for them. But that's not always the case. A lot of guys may take time to get healthy, may take time to develop into the NFL, and then turn into very productive veterans down the road. So today we're going to look at post-hype running backs that you should be trading for if you are a contending team. Let's get into it. My first post-hype running back is JK Dobbins. Over his career, JK Dobbins has seen a few ebbs and flows in his ADP. His career high in terms of startup ADP is 25th overall. Currently, he's sitting at 55. Why has he fallen? What's the deal with that 3-round drop in ADP over his career? Well, it's injuries. I mean, that's very obvious. He has just not been healthy, right? Obviously, fully healthy in year one for the most part. Year two is a complete wash with an ACL tear, and most of year three was lost with, lingering concerns from that ACL to the point where he had to have a second surgery mid-season to clean things up. Why am I in? Why am I buying in even with all of those injury concerns? Well, the fact of the matter is JK Dobbins is healthy, and when he's healthy, he is unbelievably talented. And while yards per carry I don't think is the best metric to often show success, JK Dobbins averages 5.9 yards per carry over his 23 career games. 5.9 is just an absolutely ridiculous number. That is well above, the NFL all-time record. He is hyper efficient with the ball. And on top of that, he just makes plays happen. After his second surgery last season, when he came back and really started to kind of turn back into J.K. Dobbins, he led the NFL in rush yards over expected by an absurd amount. And when you look at the situation, it could not be better. Lamar Jackson is back. He is ready to lead, a top 5 offense, presumably in the NFL, like he often does when healthy. On top of that, Greg Roman is out. That means the heavy committee backfield, the lack of leaning on their best running back, J.K. Dobbins, should start to fall away. Instead, we have Todd Monken, who now comes in, who has made it a point to run offenses that highly target running backs and pass more, which is what we want to see, from this Baltimore offense. And if you're sitting there saying, well, J.K. Dobbins doesn't catch passes, they're never going to pass. Well, Nick Chubb saw his career high in targets with Todd Monken the one season he played there. Right? He saw over 40 targets. J.K. Dobbins has a path to 40, 50 targets if the uptick in passing actually occurs. And that's going to be enough for him to really have the opportunity to be a top 10 running back in 2022 alone. Again, at RB2 prices, I am all in on J.K. Dobbins. Sticking with the theme of year 4 running backs, let's take a look at Antonio Gibson. Now, Antonio Gibson, we all know what his ADP used to be, right? He was a top 20 pick in 1 QB startup leagues. He was being drafted as a top 10, top 5 running back in some leagues as well. It didn't work out, so now his ADP has tumbled. He's all the way down at 117th overall. And honestly, I think we may have overcorrected on this. Why am I back in on Antonio Gibson coming off of a down season? Well, for one, their new offensive coordinator, Eric Bieniemy, I think is a signal that they're going to utilize pass-catching running backs more than they have in the past. And with J.D. McKissic gone, Antonio Gibson is going to be the main beneficiary. There's no other way. Chris Rodriguez, who they drafted out of Kentucky, is not a pass catcher, or at least was not in college. Brian Robinson is sure as hell not a pass catcher. We saw it year 1. It's not in his wheelhouse. That role is going to fall to Antonio Gibson. And what has Eric Bieniemy done the last couple of seasons? Well, we saw Darrell Williams become extremely fantasy relevant, right? Seeing 50-plus targets after coming on strong to end the season. And then we saw the exact same thing with Jerick McKinnon last year, who really wasn't all that involved pre-bye week and still finished with 71 targets in 2022. And a pass-catching running back that has the capability of seeing, 70, 80 targets and has the ability to carry 200-plus times, while he won't earn that level of workload because Brian Robinson, he still has a path to 150 carries. Antonio Gibson has a high enough ceiling that I think people are just kind of assuming last year is what he is now and underrating how important the addition of Eric Bieniemy is. And before we finish up on Antonio Gibson, it's important to note, before the end of the season when it really got terrible, Antonio Gibson was a serviceable running back, even with Brian Robinson healthy. What really happened at the end of the year is he fractured his foot and played 4 games where he saw drastically reduced workloads. And obviously his ADP is suffering now as, an extension of that end of season run. So Antonio Gibson, he's not going to cost you a lot. He's really not. You're looking at RB4 prices for a guy that could be an RB2, or a high-end flex this year, just on the pass catching alone. And before we get to our last running back, if you want 2 additional post-hype running back trade targets, check out the DLF YouTube membership, guys. There's going to be 2 more guys there that I'm buying into late in their careers. Check it out, guys, the bonus content tier on the DLF YouTube membership. And to close it out, it is Tyler Allgeier, and I understand what your immediate reaction probably is, right? Well, Bijan Robinson is there. Why the hell would I want Tyler Allgeier? He's probably a top 5 handcuff, if not the best handcuff, depending how you mark that out, right? Like, is Zach Charbonnet a handcuff? Is A.J. Dillon a handcuff? I don't consider them that. I think Tyler Allgeier will be a true handcuff and arguably the best one in the NFL. And that has value. It absolutely does, because we see it every single season. Running backs get hurt. And as someone who has a good amount of Bijan, I sure as hell hope he does not get hurt. But if he does, Tyler Allgeier carries league-winning upside. That is just a fact, and we can basically base that off of what did he do with Desmond Ridder last season to close out the year. He played 3 fantasy-relevant games with Desmond Ridder, right? Get rid of week 18. Nobody cares about it. So 15, 16, and 17. And what did Tyler Allgeier do? He finished as an RB1 3 times. RB8, RB12, RB12, depending on your scoring. That is a guy that is being drafted, as an RB4, RB5 in some cases, that very well could finish as a top 15 running back should worst case scenario happen to Bijan Robinson. That is the type of ceiling I want in my handcuffs. Those are guys I don't consider roster cloggers because I know why I'm holding Tyler Allgeier. And on top of all of that, he's going to be cheap. He has been traded for 3rd-round picks in several leagues I'm in, often to the Bijan Robinson owner, which makes perfect sense. Why would you not want to protect against, a disaster scenario where Tyler Allgeier is going to step right back into a workhorse role? His main competition is not on the roster, which is why handcuffs often see elevated work. And we know he's a capable pass catcher and a damn good runner, a very efficient runner as well. So Tyler Allgeier has all the makings of an elite handcuff because we've seen him do it. It's not often we get that with a lot of these first, second-year running backs who are stuck behind, star runners. We just have to hope they can do it. We know Tyler Allgeier can do it, and that has to carry value. All right, guys, that is all we have for you. Again, if you want 2 additional post-hype running backs, sign up for the DLF YouTube membership. You get extra videos over there. You get mock drafts from Addison as well. So check it out, guys. As always, thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.